Hey guys, what's going on? John here from What's Spinning, here tonight to chat about this new Whitney covers album. It's called Candid. Whitney are a Chicago-based indie folk group. They apparently formed out of the remains of indie band Smith Westerns, which I didn't even notice until recently. And they took the blog storm back in 2016 with their Light Upon a Lake album. Honestly, it's an album that at the time I just kind of wrote off, but it has grown on me quite a bit since then. While I'm not that keen on the production on this album, the super hazy atmosphere and the soulful vocals, as well as the super passionate performances, are very likable. Now in 2019, they dropped their follow-up, Forever Turned Around, an album that, was kind of likable overall. I thought it had a lot going for it. While it didn't have the sort of progression forward that I was really hoping to hear from Whitney, they once again saved it with very soulful performances. Now they are back with a set of covers, and cover albums are something that I've never really been able to chat about much on this album, but I've got a lot of thoughts on them, especially this one. Let's chat about it. This album starts off kind of on a weak note with a cover of Kalela's Bankhead. Now, I am a diehard Kalela fan, and I love the original version of this track. I'm going to be honest, though, they just kind of sound out of place and a little awkward on here. The original track was just so larger than life and gigantic sounding. Their sort of breezy folk interpretation of this track just doesn't really stand up to that. It's really boring, sadly, very uneventful, not where I wanted to hear this covers album take off. Then we have their cover of Take Me Home Country Roads by John Denver featuring Katie Crutchfield, aka Waxahachie, and from a distance, I didn't see how this could fail. Now, I like Whitney, and I love Katie, but this track for me is one of the most disappointing here. Personally, I feel like nobody here is 100% into this. All around, nobody sounds interested. The original is such a classic because John Denver put so much into it. This just kind of sounds thrown together, very disappointing. I've listened to a lot of cover albums in my days, and this one kind of rings the same. A lot of these covers, a lot's lost in translation from one artist to another. Then we have Crying, Laughing, Loving, Lying. This one is originally by Labby Seafray, and this one is one of the more toned down and stripped down tracks. And you know what? I genuinely don't like it. I think their heart's in the right place this time around, though. I just think this one has really nothing to stand on. When things speed up a little bit, it does get a little better. But compared to some of the better covers on here, and there are quite a few, this just doesn't cut it for me. Now, Whitney do take a handful of tracks here and really make them their own, actually. The first really great cover track here is a cover of Damien Jurado's AM. It's light on the ears and fluffy and warm, and the slide guitar sounds great. Not to mention, I feel like Whitney just sounds super confident here. It's times like this that being in your comfort zone is actually a really great thing. Horns are splendid. This atmosphere you just want to get wrapped up in. Honestly, if you slipped this onto one of their studio albums and told me this was a cover, I wouldn't believe you. This just blends really well with their sound. Their cover of High on a Rocky Ledge by Moondog, another really great pick. It's got this subtle funk to it and some seriously very soulful references as well, which is just an element to Whitney's music that I've always thought has been a real standout point. Once again, it's just so breezy and likable and full of life. Even outside of their soulful vocals here, Whitney just sounds so into this, so passionate. It also, once again, has this old school charm to it that I really like. Their cover of Something Happened by Jack Arrell is really something interesting as well. It's a sort of laid back and spacey instrumental with some almost jam elements thrown in. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know where they got the idea to do this, but this is a great little interlude that breaks up this album very nicely. And their cover of David Byrne and Brian Eno's Strange Overtones might be my favorite cover here. Whitney have this way of filling this track with joy and make it really easy to take in. Once again, if you slip this onto one of their albums, it really would sound right at home. And once again, it has some serious grooves in part as well that just seem to go very well with the sound of Whitney. I also really like their cover of Hammond's song by the Roaches. I love how earthy and warm this is. It's just perfect for a cozy night. The laid-back horns, the slide guitars, all this works so well. When they really do pull off a cover, they make it their own and just make it this passionate experience. That's really great. But Whitney kind of dropped the ball with the finale of the album, so much so that I honestly think that this album overall just has about enough good material for maybe an EP. Their cover of SWV's Rain is really hard to sit through. Whitney absolutely tap into their steamier and more soulful side here in a big way, but these vocals are just not for me. I mean, especially when you compare this track to the original, This is miles off. Honestly, it ends up being one of the most obnoxious covers here. This just not for me, man. And they finish this off with a cover of Blaze Foley's Rainbows and Ridges. And you know what? I think their heart's really in the right place here. I get what they were going for. But this isn't what I was looking for in a finale track here. Track comes off rustic and warm from a distance, but honestly, it's just so stripped down and has nothing to fall back on once again. It sounds nice from a distance, but that's about it. So overall, on this little covers album from Whitney, I really have a lot of mixed feelings on it. The tracks that are not good here are awkward and sound miles away from where they should be. But oftentimes, Whitney take a lot of these tracks and make them their own as well, so much so that they sound like they could make up some of their studio albums that aren't covers albums. My thoughts is, of the 10 tracks here, there's enough good material for maybe a short little fun covers EP, but that's about it. I'm feeling a decent 6 on this album, but let me know what you guys think down below. If you like the video, be sure to give us a like, give us a subscribe, and let me know down below what you would like for me to chat about in the future. And until next time, have a great day, guys.